Can you believe it's already been a month since this challenge started? Me neither. It's been crazy. It's gone so quickly. It's already May. I've been in this for 4 weeks now. And this is my fourth week share out to say what I've been doing this week, how it's felt, and what self coaching tools I've been using. Again, this is part of a YouTube challenge as part of a course I am enrolled in, or I took to become a YouTuber after the age of 40. And I'll make sure those course details are in the description as usual. And this was really a challenge set by the creators of that course who have their own very popular YouTube channels. And it was a way to get the community kind of, really focused on either getting monetized in 3 months or doubling your income in 3 months. And so their hints for doing that were to double your output. So if you were only doing one video a week, to do two. And that was what was true for me. It was to do a 25% longer format, and it was to batch film a number of 4 videos at a time, meaning you fill them all 1 through 4 in one go. There's also a suggestion to invest in your business in a sense that something you might pay for could then be something you could use in your video, and also to use any kind of current opportunities that might be out there in your field, which for me ended up being a whole mini series on dealing with federal uncertainty. So I wanted to kind of recap what's been going on this week and then talk again about what tools. And again, these tools could be used for any kind of challenge you're in or any kind of goal you're trying to hit, any kind of milestone you're trying to meet. So this is specifically a YouTube challenge, but these are applicable for other reasons. So what's it been like? Honestly, it's been a bit of a slog. So as I've mentioned, I do have that full-time job and it is in a federal adjacent entity. And, emotions have been running high this week. We've lost some people who have decided to take the deferred retirement plan, which has meant that some of the things that we normally are able to do at a certain speed or cadence have begun to slow down. There's other people that aren't sure what's going to happen to their positions. And so, as it's been for probably a lot of people in this situation, there's been that kind of feeling of, emotions running pretty high and the complete gamut of them. And again, I've done some video series on that, targeting my colleagues and I on how to deal with that. So this week, where I would normally try to do some of my prep during the week, I just really, when I've got to the evening, I've just been really shattered, honestly, and just wanting to really decompress. And so I haven't felt like I've had that kind of creative energy. Now, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't kinda let myself get away with it kind of thing. I would say, "Come on, Erin, let's go decompress for a little bit, and then we'll get back on it," or set a timer. It's only gonna take 15 minutes. But there were just a few days when I just didn't have it in me, and I recognized in those moments, the best form of self-care for me was just to really be able to just turn off and shut off my brain, and so I did. So, no bad feelings there. So, also, um, it's been a little bit of a late start to the week. I had some things going on in the week. We had guests last weekend and I had a work event. So it just felt like everything was really compressed into a few working days. So it's not a problem, but it did kind of impact what I felt like I could get with the challenge. Saying that, some of the tools I use to kind of manage just even my regular job and also with my YouTube channel was Delegate. Now, lots of productivity experts will talk about delegation and how important that looks, and you can delegate to your personal assistant or a team member. What might that look like? And for me, what that looked like is using AI to kind of help with some of the preparation and preps. That's not to say that you're not getting full air in here, you are, but there's also been some places where I've been able to find, some usefulness like, hey, could you help me with some thumbnail titles? Or could you compare these two and tell me what you think? What are some search words I could use to optimize and make sure that I include those in my video? Could you help me come up with a note format that I can use? Like I said last week, I'm trying out using digital notes. And so, my AI pal helped me out with that. So that's been really helpful. One of the other ways I've delegated is just more mundane chores like, hey, partner, could you please take care of dinner tonight? Because I want to work on this video. In truth, I had late work night meetings, and so I was able, for my full-time job. So, asking someone in your household to kind of help with things that you usually take control of or you're usually in charge of can be another way to delegate. So again, that's a great tool, and it's kind of an action item that you can add when it kind of maybe feels like you're overwhelmed. I do find, and I will talk about this in another video, that if you have a sense of perfectionism about things, um, it can be really helpful to kind of give that up. You're under a lot of duress, and that's in the sense that you can delegate. Now, I don't know about you, but I have certain ways I like certain things, like how my laundry's done or how my dishes are washed, that sort of thing. And when you delegate, sometimes you just have to accept maybe a different standard, not a worse standard, but a different standard. But being willing to do that and accept help and ask for it is a really powerful tool when you're going through a challenge. The second tool I noticed that I was sort of letting, or its second tool that I would recommend, and something that I tend to let slip, is making sure that I'm actually acknowledging the things that I am getting done and celebrate those a bit. And so for this week, although I didn't get to meet all of the things about the challenge that I was hoping to, I did meet several of them. I had videos scheduled to go up so that I'm still on track for 2 a week. I was able to add a slightly longer format so that, my videos were around 25% longer than they previously were. I was also able to film them in one go and kind of learn to accept that myself, with all the flubs and all the mistakes, the coughs, the pauses. And that meant for some much quicker editing. And it also meant that I got to use the self-coaching tool of kind of loving yourself through all that stuff and really just accepting that, realizing I'm here to give the viewers something. It's not about being perfect. I know I kinda squished tools into one. You can consider that a bonus one. But, for the celebrating the wins, sometimes I actually have to put that as a reminder on my calendar, or I do that with my coach, my business coach, Karen. We do that every week. We start off our session with 3 minutes of coaching. She seriously gets pom-poms out, and we have a little rah-rah over whatever we've done that week. And that's really great because at the end of the day, sometimes what I notice is what I didn't get done rather than what I did. So it's important to really notice your milestones and make sure that you take a minute just to really let those sink in. I sometimes do that in my calendar, excuse me, in my journal. I'll write down what I did rather than all the things I'm going to do. And again, it's just a little way to let that kind of resonate with you and sit for a second before you move on to the next thing. Anyway, if you found this video helpful and you're in the middle of a challenge and you might want to use some of these tools, be sure to subscribe. And if you're curious what I've been using in the previous weeks, check out those videos. I'll link to that series here at the end of this video. And if you want to tell me any tools you're using on a challenge in the comments, I would love to hear them. I'll take all the help I can get, especially from my self coaching for skeptic viewers out there. So thanks again and see you next week.